And to further discuss that impact, I'm joined here in the studio by Abdullahi Boru Halakhe, an Africa security and policy analyst. So just some of the things you've been hearing describe the swarm's unprecedented, worst plague, a national emergency called in Somalia. And as we just mentioned, the region's also facing food insecurity, millions of people at risk. What is your biggest concern here?
My biggest concern is in South Central Somalia. It's a region that is under the control of Al-Shabaab, and for obvious security reasons, it will be very difficult, even given all the problems that are there, to spray this region. So if locusts now in the next few weeks, they will start breeding afresh. So what you are having is locusts having a safe haven in an area that is already fragile and be able to spread to other countries, further stretching the already fragile response that we are having there. The second part is that arises from that is it's spreading to your Uganda, your Tanzania, and overwhelming the entire region, and even more worryingly to places like South Sudan. That is already facing serious food shortages and dire humanitarian crisis.
So the UN wants $76 million. It only has a fraction of that. But other than money, which we know is not enough, what else needs to be done? We're talking about spraying.
As of now, it is incredibly challenging, like many of these outbreaks. In Kenya, for instance, this is the worst outbreak in 70 years. In Ethiopia and Somalia, this is the worst in a quarter century. So what you're looking at are countries in the region that have not really prepared themselves for this, because in their imagination, these things, we are past them. But the thing, and the only thing as of now that we say can be used effectively, is the aerial spraying that needs to be done. But that is going to be expensive, and the after effect of the environmental degradation that might arise out of this is something that has not been discussed in detail either.
So the environment, what about the people, the families, the children, the humanitarian impact of all this?
It is going to be huge, because let's step back. If you look at the region that is the Horn of Africa, this is one region in the entire continent that has been bedeviled by a series of conflict, state weaknesses, governance gaps. On top of this region just came out of drought and then hit by heavy floods, and as a result of the region being very wet, because of the cyclone that hit the coast of Somalia in December, you are seeing locusts coming. So they are being hit left, right, and center. So you'll be looking at the locust breeding more. The harvesting season just ended barely, and we are entering a planting season. If between now and the planting season, the locust is not controlled, you are looking at regions that predominantly are face food shortages, and they are predominantly reliant on rain-fed agriculture, predominantly reliant on pastoral livelihood, all being under tremendous amount of humanitarian crisis. They are staring at a real humanitarian crisis. Like you've mentioned at the top, the UN doesn't have a ton of money to go around.
And you have to come at it at all sides, the humanitarian aspect, the environmental aspect, and just getting control of the situation. Abdullahi Boru Halakhe, thank you so much for joining us. We appreciate it.